What's up, people? This is your boy Gerald. It is the 31st of March, 2016. Yeah, I know you hear it in my voice, right? Brother's been a little congested. Actually, it's been going on for almost 2 weeks now. For real? Nah, I don't buy that. I don't buy that at all. How is everybody doing? I hope you can hear me. Even though it's today, my voice has been a little raspy, and I hope you bear with me. I'm not going to take up too much of your time. I'm really not going to. But I felt passionately I had to put this out because the fact that you spend just 1 minute, you give me that 1 minute, that's priceless. So I'm not going to squander that because you could have focused that on anything. Whenever you decide to find this video, even if it's when it does, I hope it finds you well. I hope it finds you grounded. I hope that you are speaking your truth. But more importantly, placing God first in everything you do. So yeah, my voice now today wants to do this laryngitis thing. But here's the thing, I have no symptoms. Mm-mm. I feel fine. I know because of the weather turn, pollen's out, and I've always historically had been infected, been affected due to the pollen because of hay fever, which you all know that is nothing but exposure to your immune system. We know that. Some of you grow through it. Some you are forced to go through the gauntlet of prescription pills and change this to change that. But I actually believe now, more importantly, we are in an era where that's not the case. Because we live in a world where they constantly spraying, just like a farmer does his crops. He is trying to eradicate the pests because he's trying to protect his harvest. But his problem is looking at logic based on fact. And one thing that is true to me, I remember you didn't have people with walk around with respiratory issues 5 years like that. It wasn't, did they exist? Of course they did. But to large scales of people, to the point that people are saying, hey, I can make a quick buck. I'm going to start running commercials on the TV so that I make sure that you know that, hey, here's your remedy, here's your temporary solution, because nobody does anything by chance. Nothing happens just because. There's a reason for it all. But you got to be honest, courageous to understand and see it outside the box. You got to. We're talking about your life. You know that. You know your life. There'll never be another you. Never, ever. So it's very important that you protect it. That's why it's very important for you to, that's why God said it. Your body is a temple. So you got to do what's needed. You got to. Let me show you something. I don't know if you can see this, but I'm going to tilt this down. So hopefully you can see it. All right. See? Whoop. Yep. See that? See all these? I know y'all saying, what the hell is that? These are all my vitamins, my, this right there is spirulina. This is for spiking your testosterone. They come in different pill shapes. my amino acids, oops, copper, iron, natural detoxification. So if you got any ailments in your system, it should flush it out and spike it up. Why? I want you to live. So you're going to stack the deck. It's better to have a little more than have not enough. But see, the common Joe lives for the day, lives for the moment. Ain't thinking about and can't tell you what's going to occur 5 days from now because their mind's not there. And the funny thing about it, that's why advertising works so much, because they know if my mind's not right, my body's not going to be right, because wherever the mind goes, the body's going to flow. That's why I keep echoing this to you, my queens. Besides making you God's gift of man, he gave you the gift of nurturement. That's why you'll never hear another term is held with grace like the term mother. That comes with a prestige all by itself. But we live in an era now that there's plenty of women out here that can have kids but are terrible moms. And I like to believe a lot of it, 50% has to do with the exposure of how they were raised and the perceptions that came from those experiences, especially negative ones, as well as a percentage of knowing who they are, your self-worth, your self-respect. That's why I always echo it, Queens, because I want you to be honored. I want you to love yourself. I want you to tap into what makes you strong. That's why I always say, stop looking for a man. Prepare for him. But if he doesn't know God, he doesn't have a relationship with God, guess what? He will never have a relationship with himself. And if he doesn't have a relationship with himself, guess what? He'll never have a relationship with you. Why? Because he'll never be able to see your worth. That's why we're living in a modern day Sodom and Gomorrah. That's why we're living in a mind state where people don't care. They don't value life. There'll never be another life like yours. Doesn't matter if you are in the storm, the spiritual storm. You think you're in hell right now because life is very hard. I say, look at the nuances, take accountability, take stock on what you don't have compared to what you need. But always be true, vigilant, vulnerable, transparent to yourself. That's why I always echo, it's time. It's time for you to have that conversation with him. But see, we live in such a society, when it comes to things like that, we're like, nah. We shun it. Why do we shun the things that we should hold dear? It's because we don't have a relationship with it. So guess what? Fear. Finally, everything's reality. Yes, the shoe drops. Yes, the rug comes from under you. Yes, no matter to what avail, you always fall short. Why? It ain't blessed. It ain't blessed. So I'm going to always shout out to you. Wherever you are, just know you're loved. Just know you prayed for. Just know you have a purpose. Surely you don't think you just on this planet to eat, take up space, and reproduce and die, dude. Nah, come on. Nah. But I also know sometimes people, you go through seasons. Some may be very blissful and some can be very traumatic. The commonality is you. The commonality is how you respond. Do you realize right now in this very moment, there is somebody that you don't know that is accepting their reality and they're settling. They're saying, well, all I'm going to do is the life I know it. And yeah, this is the best it's going to be. And I tell each and every one of you, devil's a liar. He's a coward. He is. So don't give up on yourself. I don't care what you're going through. Don't give up on yourself. All it takes is that one foot planted firm and lean forward. The other one will follow. And next thing you know, through time, what will happen is you will see growth. You will see progression. But guess what? The devil is going to fight you. He going to fight you. He going to keep those people in your life that want to see you die. He going to try to keep you confused, and he going to use those vices that he knows alter the way you think. Those hidden addictions, those things that you deny, those things that secretly inside your mind terrifies you if it ever came out. Let me tell you something. I don't know if you've gone through this yet, but you'll come to see in your journey, wherever you are, your secrets are your truths, unclaimed. But what you'll see more than ever is all those things that you put emphasis and energy to hide, they all come out. In the intended time, intended moment, the person will know. They know all of it. You know why? Because God's in that. But there's still a blessing in that, even in chaos. I know there's probably somebody right now, life as you knew it has forever changed. You'll get through that. And then you'll get to a place inside you that will empower you. And you'll look back and you'll say, you know what? I've come to understand that whole situation I had to take accountability for. But more importantly, it was never it was never blessed to begin with. So it had no legs to stand on. It had none. You'll come to start to understand that the associations and the connections that you forge are based off the state of mind that you have at that moment. You say to yourself, oh, we had a chemistry. No, you didn't have a chemistry. You had a commonality that was condoned. That's why we always hear the term birds of a feather flock together, because misery loves company. That's why I've come to learn the importance of the word friend. Because a true friend is going to tell you what you need. They're going to guide you. They're not going to enable you. And they're going to pray for you too. Even if they don't get the opportunity to see it come to pass. You're not on this planet, y'all, to suffer. You're on this planet to claim your legacy. Your life is the paintbrush that will be your legacy left after you're gone. But the sad thing about it is, We allow influences that are from the outside to dictate what is interpreted inside. Come on, kings, think about it. Some of the choices and desires and the influences that become your behaviors, go back to where they first came from. Just say, for example, the style of dress. Can you remember when you embraced that style? But look a little deeper and see what was the influence. See, when you're constantly being indoctrinated with a constant reminder, you build a subconscious memory, a memory response. That memory response becomes what we know is a pattern. And over a period of time, it becomes a behavior and a way that found that validates your perception. So I do understand why they say knowledge is power. I do understand why it's very important to feed your heart, feed your mind, but feed your spirit. That's why we live in a society where there's so many people trying to stay with the clique, don't want to be outside the fray. They don't want to be outside the fray because they're afraid they'll be lost. They'll be lost. That's why I always echo to each and every one of you. Do you know who you are? I can at least say from me to you, I see a person that's priceless. I see a person that is going to influence not only the people that they're going to meet, but the people that are going to come from behind them. Why? Because you're blessed. But it won't make sense until you start to heal. Take the stopwatch out of your life and invest in it. My queens, stop getting caught up in the superficial. It'll be different if you invested in the superficial, because then you make money. Well, who's making money off of you? You run out there because you see the next puppet of the day. Prime example. Let me throw these pills in real quick. I love each and every one. I do. I ain't got no agenda. I'm just trying to get you to think about it. Just think. Just think about it. Think about where you were compared to where you're going. If what's behind you is not helping you grow, why are they there? Because they make you laugh, distract you from the things you need to do, because of how they make you feel, because they stimulate you in a certain way, so you put up with their BS. You shouldn't even hear him breathe, but yet, because he makes you feel a certain way, you give him a pass because you allow your insecurities to convince you that if I don't put up with his BS, some other woman's going to get him. Who's the fool? But here's the greatest tragedy of them all. The person that's destined to be in your life can't get to you. Can't get to you because you're not putting forth the work. Because, see, that's what being yoked is all about, y'all. Your equal, not your greater than or your less than. Your equal. Two people going in different directions can't go together. So how much is your life worth? How much is your heart worth? Aren't you tired of using your heart as a speed bag? How about your self-respect? You can't buy that. but you give them a pass. But more importantly, you can't make anybody do anything they don't want to do. So let's negate this one. Stop lying to yourself and stop lying, letting people lie to you and tell you anything. Last time I checked, your name is not Boo Boo the Fool. Tired of your money not being the way it should be? Well, why don't you plug the holes up of where it's going? Yeah. If they're not, listen, 1 + 0 don't equal 2. So why are you shouldering their burdens? Why are you shouldering their mistakes willfully because they didn't convince you you ain't going nowhere? So if there's no movement, there's no growth. Why? Because of how he make you feel down there? How about how he make you feel right here? Do you feel emotionally safe? Because that's what need to be protected. But if that ain't right, this is going to be disconnected. I know I'm talking to someone. So who's benefiting? My queens, stop going for the okie doke. I told y'all 3 years ago, watch them fall. And what's been going on these last 3 years? People have been playing with their health and they're dying. So what's the big thing now? Oh, I'm going to keep eating the way I want, doing what I want, saying what I want, but I'm going to spend my hard-earned money on a waist trainer. But yet, calisthenics does wonders. You making them rich off of your habits. They didn't convince you you ain't good enough. But what's so sad is the little boy, the little girl inside you that is in that mirror has been saying forever, why don't you love me? Why you treat why why do you keep letting those people disrespect you? Why you let him on top of you? Why you let him hit you? Why do I always go to her and feel worse? We have to take accountability for our lives, y'all. If your environment, wherever you are, does not spawn growth, why are you there? I'll tell you why. Because you don't know who you are, or you're afraid. You're afraid because you have control issues. So instead of embracing yourself and speaking your truth, you stay to what's tried and true. And that tried and trueness is nothing but pain. And guess what? The devil knows that too. As you progress, because time you can't get back. You have to take, see, even Tyson, see, you heard him? Tyson's like, yeah, you don't want another 5 years to go by and say, you know what, I wasted my time with you. For what? A fake status? You got people getting married just for the come up. If that ain't nothing, if that ain't social prostitution, I don't know what to tell you. That's really sleeping with the enemy. You having kids that you don't want to love, but you go through the struggle of carrying them. Why? Because you don't have no work ethic? You want to sit on my taxes? You want me to do your work, but yet don't take any credit for your life? But you expect me to bail you out? I can't live your life and I don't want your pain, but I'll pray for you. Now, hush! We got stuff in the air, y'all, we can't even see. We go off of what we see on TV. Don't you realize that's programming? Programming. That means someone had to sit down and orchestrate what is being released. Somebody's boss got to sign off on the BS. You don't hear nobody talking about WMDs, but guess what? That's old news because now they are talking about nanotechnology. Nano, that means beyond the naked eye. If you think, why you think they create movies the way they do? Because art always imitates life. Hush! But I will say this, and I'm not going to take up your day. I hope you are well. I hope you are loving yourself. Have the courage to do something different. How about learning the word no? Say no. No don't mean forever, means under review. But you can't make nobody do nothing they don't want to do. But remember, those your friends, right? Those your friends? So why you over there on a bump of the log hurting? Those your friends, right? That's your man, right? The only time he comes around so he can add another layer of abuse. So he can add another means of humiliating you because he knows in his heart of heart he ain't gonna marry you. You're just something to do, something to pass the time. But that falls on you too, Queens, because some of y'all think that because you're a woman, that's your ticket in life. No, that just makes you a prostitute. There's no honor in that. And that breaks my heart because ain't nothing worse than see a woman without her smile. But it's a tragedy when you see a man do that. So who's benefiting off of your despair? Who's benefiting off your ignorance? Who's benefiting off your fear? All those three things I described that can be controlled by you physically. But it does not matter until you decide to love yourself, take accountability of your life, but more importantly, look at that beautiful person in the mirror and ask yourself, do I know who I am? Because if you did, half the things you go through as you know as your burdens, you wouldn't. Get your life back and love yourself more. God is praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. And for that, it helps me discern mine. You guys matter, but only you define that. You ain't gonna find that on the illustrations of the latest magazine. Don't you realize all media is programming? It's to dictate how you spend your money. So who wins? The look of the day or the person that owns the company? Because the person that owns the company don't give a fuck about you. Be blessed.